So the labrum is a ring of cartilage that surrounds the socket in the hip joint. We have a labrum in the shoulder. Acts like a similar function, but in the hip, what it does is it deepens the socket, but it also maintains stability for the hip joint. So it acts like a gasket essentially, meaning it seals the hip, the ball in the socket, and that adds stability to the hip joint. And it also maintains the joint lubrication fluid within the hip joint, so that the joint gets its nutrients and can articulate smoothly.
How common is it to have an injury like this?
Labral tears are quite common, particularly in the athletic population, and one of the reasons we do see a lot of labral tears in athletes is because it's usually a derivative of hip impingement, when the ball and socket joint is misshapen. And when that misshapen joint gets flexed repeatedly, that can cause a collision between the two bones, and the structure that's in between the two bones during that collision is the labrum. And so repetitive activities such as athletics or soccer can cause a labral tear to occur, particularly in athletes. So most commonly patients with labral tears, what they'll complain about is pain kind of right in the front of the hip, right deep into the groin pain. And oftentimes we call it a C-shaped, a C sign, where patients will say they have pain kind of like this, and they cup their hip. And very commonly they'll have pain for sitting for prolonged periods of time, going up and down stairs, prolonged car rides, as well as sporting activities where hip flexion is involved. Those certain motions tend to cause the most amount of pain in patients with labral tears.
So if you do tear it, is it possible to heal on its own through therapy, or is it always kind of a surgical route?
Great majority of cases where we do have labral tear, rehabilitation is the first step. And that would involve strengthening the glutes, strengthening the core muscles, gently stretching out the hip, working on the hip flexors as well. All those in combination with one another can certainly help not potentially heal the labrum, but help stabilize and diminish the amount of pain that the hip is experiencing. In instances where that does not work, then we'd have to resort to surgery and arthroscopic surgery to repair the tear.